What's up, guys? Flex1296 here, and today we're bringing you episode 2 of Footie Talk, in which today we will be talking about the past week and a half's top transfer stories. There's only one place to begin, of course, and that's at Manchester City, where they finally completed the Raheem Sterling signing, in which the signing was finally ended the saga. If you want to know more about my opinions on Sterling, check out last week's episode. The fee was for 49 million. However, in saying that, 5 million of that is in add-ons, so it's only 44 million technically, if you want to say that. And as well as that, 9.8 million of that goes straight to QPR, who were clever enough to add in a transfer clause when they originally sold Sterling to Liverpool. All I'll say to Sterling is, look, the grass isn't always green on the other side. I remember when players like Adam Johnson, Jack Rodwell, and Scott Sinclair went to Manchester City, and two of them now are at Sunderland, and one of them's at Aston Villa. I'm not disrespecting them in any way by calling them a smaller club. I'm just saying that once you've moved from a small club to Man City to move back to a considerably smaller club again, you just don't kind of want to go back there. So all I'll say is that maybe Sterling will come to regret this. Maybe he may actually surprise me. I don't know. Only time will tell, I guess. And having said that, I don't think he's worth the 49 million. But he sure as hell could be by the time this thing plays out. He sure as hell could be. But that's all I'll say on the matter, because obviously I spoke a lot about it in the first episode of this. But it does kind of bring me on to my next transfer story, which is Christian Benteke is possibly or has gone to Liverpool from Aston Villa. The signing took place after the Sterling deal finished. The 32.5 million it is believed to be, and that's obviously taken the large portion of money from the Sterling deal. This for me is a pretty good signing for Liverpool. He has aerial presence. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's an all-round perfect striker. Is he worth the 32.5 million? Probably not. But I still believe him to be a very decent striker who can offer us another dimension to our play. Obviously, we don't, from what I've seen so far, we don't kind of play the long diagonal, but I'm pretty sure he'll get enough support anyway with Coutinho and Firmino right behind him. So I'm pretty sure support will not be lacking. He may not just get it in. He may not just get the support in the air as much as what he probably did at Villa. But for me, this is a really good signing. Something that Liverpool needed as well. They needed some sort of big physical presence up front who's good with the ball in the air. But yeah, this is a quite an exciting signing. I'm just looking at how everyone now will fit in with the Benteke deal. You got people like Origi, who's come back from his I'd say loan move to Lille, but it was kind of like he stayed there for an extra season. He looks pretty decent in pre-season. Ings, he's off and running now. It's an exciting squad. It looks an exciting squad to have. It's just, I just wonder what Brendan's going to do with it, because I've come to a realization I've got to give him a second chance, because he doesn't seem to be going anytime soon. So this season there's no excuses. But moving on, next transfer topic comes from London, and it's Premier League champions Chelsea, who have signed goalkeeper Asmir Begovic from Stoke. Strange deal. Considering that you've just sat back and watched Petr Cech, who's a great goalkeeper, leave Chelsea for Arsenal because he wasn't getting enough game time. And then you're Stokes number one. I know there has been a lot of talk of Jack Butland possibly going to challenge him more this coming season for place as number one goalkeeper. But still, I think you're still going to get a lot more game time at Stoke than you would against a guy like Thibaut Courtois, who's being tipped to be, once Neuer goes, the best goalkeeper in the world at the time. So why would you leave? I mean, I know Champions League football is probably tempting, but why would you still leave? I don't understand it. I don't. Obviously, because the best they'll get is probably a few Premier League games and a few Cup games, including Champions League. You'll probably get the odd Champions League game in which they might have already qualified by then. I just still don't get the transfer. But it's a pretty good signing for Chelsea. I mean, most people would love to have this kind of goalkeeping situation, which you can rely on both goalkeepers to go out there and keep you a clean sheet, because both are quality goalkeepers. But like I said, I just don't get the decision to move if you want more game time, because I don't believe that you're going to get more game time. Final few transfer stories I'm going to bring you today come from Manchester. United confirmed 4 transfer signings this past week and a half. One of them we already knew in Memphis Depay, or Depay, however you're pronouncing that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But they also completed the signing this week of Morgan Schneiderlin, Bastian Schweinsteiger, and Matteo Darmian. Darmian, I assume I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not 100% sure. I apologise if not. Darmian is a right back, and it kind of, to me, that kind of symbols that Van Gaal will play a back four next season. That will be his starting formation, and that's good because when they play back three, they just don't seem to know what they're playing, because the back three to them is a bit strange. So maybe the back four, going back to the back four, simple back four, probably help them. Now, if you can just put Rooney, if you can just start Rooney up front more, Man United will probably have a good season. And believe me, you don't know how much that pains me to say that they'll have a good season, considering I'm a Liverpool fan. So, yeah, pains me to say it, but if he plays his players in the right formation and the right position, they will have a good season next season. And that's boosted with the signings of Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger. Both similar positional players. Schneiderlin was top quality for Southampton last season, especially considering how they lost most of their star players. He was absolute quality for them. But the strange thing I didn't get about this is days before Schneiderlin, you signed Schweinsteiger. I mean, I know obviously Schweinsteiger isn't getting any younger, he's 30 years of age, and I honestly did assume that he would actually not join the Premier League and he would see out whatever, however long his contract with Bayern Munich had left in it, and probably move to the MLS, because that seems to be the trend now for most players. But that obviously hasn't happened. He's moved to Man United. It'll be good to see him in the Premier League. I just don't quite get where he's coming from signing 2 very similar players. I mean, I know Carrick has many, many injury problems. The injury problems that kind of stopped him from having an awesome season compared to the great season he had last season. But yeah, it just seemed a bit strange that he would sign 2 very similar players. Obviously, it could work. But again, like the Sterling deal, only time will tell. But 3 very, very good signings. And like I say, I would not be surprised if next season United, as much as I hate it, go on to have a very good season. Will they win anything? Probably an FA Cup run. I could see an FA Cup run. I don't think they are strong enough defensively, unless something miraculous has happened and it's changed during preseason. I don't think they're strong enough defensively to go on to win the Premier League itself. I still think teams like Chelsea and if Man City can maybe sort Mangala out or get another defender, maybe they can go on to mount a strong challenge as well. But that doesn't mean they can't win anything, Man United. And I know qualifying for Champions League is going to be tough because there's some quite tough teams in that draw. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll go on to have a good season, as much as I hate to say it. But having said that, to me, I don't think they will win the Premier League. Switching now to the blue side of Manchester, and that's Manchester City for the final transfer story I'm going to talk about. This one is a bit weird. This one is very weird because just days before, just days before this whole thing happened, it was probably one of the quickest U-turns I think in football history. Fabian Delph, he was basically scheduled to sign for Manchester City, and he turned around and said he will be staying at Villa. So already I'm thinking that's great because most players would have gone, yeah, Manchester City, big club, big money, I will go there. He decided not to go, and I respect him for that. A few days later, I mean, it does seem a bit coincidental that Benteke would go, and then he would decide to perform a U-turn and go back to Manchester City. He was seen having a medical. And it just seemed a bit coincidental that them two stories would go about in this, not the same way, obviously, because there was no U-turn involved with Benteke, but the kind of how he would leave and then Delph would leave. It seemed a bit coincidental. Is it a good move financially wise? Probably it is a good move for Delph. Is it a good move for him playing wise? Probably not. I can't see him playing the same amount of games you see a Yaya Toure or David Silva play. Cannot see that happening. But I could be wrong. Maybe Pellegrini does have a chance. Does have something for him in the first team. I could be wrong. I can just see him being another James Milner though, a guy that will play very well when told to play for his team, but probably will not get the game time he deserves. And like I said earlier, with the whole grass isn't always green on the other side thing, probably could happen. I mean, he was going to be captain of Villa, and it's going to be interesting now to see where Villa goes actually, because I know they're probably going to have to give a large chunk of the Benteke money to Genk, Benteke's former club. But as well as that, they're gonna get a considerably large amount of money for it anyway with their Delph deal, and they're still going to get whatever remainder of the Benteke deal is. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go from here, how they spend that money. And I know Sherwood's clever because he was the guy who managed to get Tottenham playing to a decent team, despite them having a lot of, I wouldn't say terrible players, but a lot of players that were quite deadwood within the squad. He managed to get them playing to a considerable team area. So it'll be interesting to see where they're coming from. Very interesting to see where they're coming from and how they spend the money wisely. But they've lost a top midfielder that they had, and they've lost obviously their talisman, if you like, their top striker in Benteke, assuming the deal goes through without a hitch. I remember last year when Liverpool were after Remy, apparently everything was done. They just needed to sign him officially, the medical. And then apparently he supposedly failed his medical, but still went on to play for Chelsea. Had a considerably good season at Chelsea, despite having to play second fiddle to a guy like Costa. But when called upon to do a job, he did it. So it just shows you anything can happen in football, really. So yeah, they're the top transfer stories of the past week and a half. If you obviously, if you have any comments about it, by the way, anything to ask me, anything to probably tell me if I've done anything wrong or said anything wrong, don't be afraid. Just comment. Uh, Great to hear from you guys. Great to hear how I can improve. Because again, this has been a bit all over the place. But yeah, if you have anything to say on how you think these new signings will fit in, if they will be worth it, if there'll be hits or whether there'll be misses, comment section below is for you to communicate to me. Flex1296 on Twitter if you want to follow some random tweets as well as some mainly football tweets. Can't promise anything. And of course, if you want to see more content, please like and subscribe. That would be brilliant of you. Thank you very much. See you next time on whatever I'll be doing, whether it's actually a playthrough or another one of these episodes. Thank you. Bye.